Let's create some views for laying out our sheet. So I'm going to go to level 1 and get a camera view of this. I'm going to get kind of a steep angle on it just to create that play out, I guess, that sense of depth. So view, we're going to go to and grab our camera. I'm going to come over here and on a really steep angle shoot at the building as if I was a pedestrian on the street. And you'll see we actually get that right away. That's the pedestrian view of that. And instead of tilting the camera up to try and see more, I'm just going to open that crop box up to expose more and more building. And it gets a little bit severe at the top, but that's probably fine. And maybe I'll just, let's see what that looks like when we render it. So I'll go to realistic rendering for that. And we'll add some of the embellishments to it. So we'll get rid of the lines. We'll add shadows in. I'll click apply. And we could, I guess, add a background. So we'll add sky. That puts a floor plane in also. And we'll click OK. So I think that's a good start. That's a view. So let's go ahead and right click on that and rename it. Street view. And then we have this other 3D view. Well, that's one that I created some other time. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And we have this 3D view, which is still usable. It really tells a lot about what's going on. So let's keep that one also. And we might make one detail view. So let's actually, I'll just call it model view. And I guess the other one that I want to create is a kind of a detail view. So I'm going to go ahead and, no, I'm not going to put a detail view. And I think this one is really pretty descriptive. So let's just go ahead with those three views that I have suggested. So let's go ahead and add a sheet now. So I'm going to right click. We'll see how this looks. Maybe we'll add another view. And I'm going to load in our presentation sheet. And let's go ahead and pull some views on. I do want to make sure we get the south elevation on. It's got really large crop line or grid lines, so I'm going to grab those. I'm going to double click into it, grab all the grid lines and pull them way back. So we kind of trim this off. I think it's important to keep the grid lines because it kind of gives the idea of the hierarchy of the layout. You know, the placement of the columns, the minor and the major ones. And I'll deactivate this view. And then we'll delete it and drag it back on again. And we'll see how this lays out with both the model view and the street view. And I kind of envisioned the street view being way over here, kind of large. And I'm going to adjust the cropping on it a little bit because so I double clicked into it and I'll pull this right back to the edge of the brick. And deactivate that view. And we have this other view that's kind of a little small, so let's pull that one up a little bit. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to go to size crop and I'm going to scale it. And let's say I think it could be maybe another couple of inches larger. So I'm going to go, let's just try 9 inches. And that looks fine. And so I'll just pull that down until the title lines show up. I might actually crop this. I'm going to grab this bottom line and just kind of crop the floor out a little more. Now, I don't know if that's going to force, let's see if that'll allow the model line to stay outside of the, deactivate the view, delete it, and drag that model view back in again. And there we go. Now we don't have that kind of going over that line. All right, so those two line up pretty good. I'll probably bring this one down until it lines up with the top of the edge of that one. And this would leave some room for narrative or other content, although I don't really consider narrative to be critical for this project. But any comments you make would be helpful. So this looks like, to me, I'm going to delete this one because I've got to fix my label up on it and drag that one back on again. So this looks fairly presentable. I hope you could understand, at least going through this with me, the kind of idea about care about setting up your views, at least some cursory level. So it's not just the last minute thing at the end of the project. So I look forward to you actually making even better looking presentation sheets than I have.